I've often said that I wished people could realize all their dreams in wealth and fame, and so that they could see that it's not where you're going to find your sense of completion. I can tell you from experience, the effect you have on others is the most valuable currency there is. How will you serve the world? What do they need that your talent can provide? That's all you have to figure out.
PDigsss is a type of person who elevates any environment he's in. A high-vibing ball of creative talent, repping a huge heart, humble nature, and still spreading contagious, fun-loving energy wherever he goes, making him an inspiring and very entertaining person to be around. Always smiling and never without a kind word. Let's hear more from one of the choicest bros I know.
Yeah, boy.
Hey everybody! Welcome to Short Stories Part 1. Sitting next to me is Polder, aka PDigsss. He's kind enough to be my first guest on the show. I've got a few questions for you, Polder, and I hope you don't mind, I've written a few down.
All good in my mange.
Okay. So the first question I want to ask you, because Short Stories is anchored in snowboarding. We're going to go everywhere, ladies and gentlemen, but it all starts with snowboarding. So,
The interconnector. Cheers.
cheers, my bro. Polder, do you remember the moment that you knew snowboarding was becoming a major part of your life?
I think with that question, there's many moments really. You know, many stages through my life where it really was going to be part, and literally were like big. Yeah, like first time when I first went it, when I first actually saw it in the early 90s, and actually saw, you know, like old Craig Kelly stuff, and I was just like, that's the next level shit, because I was already doing skate. I was already massive, very big into skateboarding and surfing from the late 80s, and then just seeing like videos, old school videos of those early dudes snowboarding, made me just go, whoa, that's the other board. So that's like, you know, we called it like the Holy Trinity back in the day, because it was like skate, snow, surf. And it wasn't until the mid-90s or 1994 we decided to go out and try and get up to Whakapapa and try and rent some boards and go snowboarding. But we were too early for the time, because you couldn't.
It wasn't happening, right?
Snowboarding
wasn't really happening.
Yeah. And everyone was like, we were going to try and hire them. They're like, oh, you can't get them in the country. So we got skis and we went snowboarding, and we saw this dude for the very first time. And I remember just, you know, that was the first time I was hypnotised by snowboarding. You know, so it wasn't really the first time I realised it was a big part of my life, but that's the first time I ever saw it in the flesh. Was this dude in Two-Door, and he was a lifty, and he brought his board back and he carved up. He was a Sims. It was a Sims.
You remember that?
Yeah, because I was a skater.
Yeah.
And I was like, whoa, the Sims like do, you know, Kevin Stab and all that stuff. And so I was just like, damn, Sims make snowboards and all that stuff. And then pretty much the next year we ended up hiring some, and then we did like 2 days in a row, and then pretty much after that second day of doing it, I couldn't stop thinking of anything else, you know, just like, how the hell am I going to do this more?
Well, that leads into my next question, bro. So obviously it was an exciting new thing. So we've worked out Turoa, mid-90s, and you've decided that you
actually, Whakapapa.
Oh, you were in Whakapapa?
Yeah,
excuse me.
Whakapapa
Turoa was me, so I just defaulted.
Two dollars on the other side. Yeah, well, because we came from the Hawke's Bay, so we had to come up and around down from.
It's
so
easy to
side
get to
Whakapapa was first, unless you came from Wellington up, you came through the Ohakune side. So
yeah,
yeah,
I get it.
So yeah, it was like, but you know what was real cool about it, we did like first couple of years there, and we always would bump into the cats going, oh, have you been to Two-Door? Like, nah. They're like, oh, dude, gotta come to Two-Door, man, it's the real side. It's like, oh, like that is it? That's when it feels kind of cool.
It's the same mountain. For those of you that don't know, Two-Door was on Whakapapa. It's a
Yeah.
couple of mountains that become one.
Ruapehu. So
Yeah.
Ruapehu is the mountain. Rua meaning two, Pehu meaning peak. So 2 peaks. And that's and on one side you had, on the Ohakune side was Tūroa, and on the other side, National Park, Taupo side was Whakapapa. Yeah.
Cool. So obviously I want to touch on our skate background a little bit later in this, but we're starting with snowboarding, and so my question is, when you realize that this new thing is, holy shit, snowboarding, holy shit, Mr. Turo, Mr. Worker guy on his Sims board, what changes did you make from that moment on to bring snowboarding into your life? Was it a conscious thing? Did you think, shit, I need to do this more?
Yeah, absolutely. 94, 95 is when everything changed.
Yeah.
I'd moved to Wellington as well just after that.
Yeah.
But we came from Hawke's Bay. We were at 19, 20. We were in Hawke's Bay, so we drove over that way. And around the end of that summer, I moved to Wellington, and that was 1994. And then the very next year was my first year at Bachelor of Science at Victoria University in Wellington, and I promptly spent that student loan on a complete snowboard. I got my books a little bit after.
Yeah.
I had to sell a few things, like skateboard things and trucks, and spare boards and wheels and that stuff. I had to pedal that stuff to get my books. But yeah, that's exactly around that time. I'd already started, the wheels that were already set in motion from the previous year, 94, going, I need to do this more. And just because, it's cool, I'd done lots and lots of years of skating and that stuff. What was awesome about snowboarding is you can do 30-foot ollies, If you go fast enough, you can ollie like a 30-foot distance. And that's one thing that really blew me away in the early days, is like, damn, you can really go hard, you can really hurt yourself, but you can go really big. Do a lot of the things like, we were dreaming of doing on snowboarding back in the day. And I just remember, like, that first sensation was what really triggered everything and made me realise, like, shit, I could do lots of this. I could do lots of it, like, now.
So, would it be fair to say you were hooked pretty
instantaneously?
Yeah, okay, cool.
But I'm a board sporter, I'm a skater, I'm a surfer first. Well, skater first, because I was skateboarding when I was like 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, and then moved to the Hawke's Bay, and that's when boards around the Hawke's Bay. When I moved to Hawke's Bay, it was 1986. That's when skateboards started first having concave and going wide and then that stuff, and having proper like urethane wheels and stuff like that. So I was just like, man, I love that stuff. And my brother was big
boards,
my
heavy.
brother was like, they
were heavy,
huge, 10 inches wide, 32 inch. And my brother was like, oh, that's called sidewalk surfing. And I went, sidewalk surfing? He goes, yeah, I saw it on TV.
He's not wrong.
Yeah, no, that's right. He goes, I saw it on TV, man, that's what they call it. Sidewalk surfing, dude. And I was like, get the hell out. And I remember around that, all in the same span of like the late 80s, around 87, 88, Hannah's Surf and Dive in Hastings. R.I.P. old Hannah. But he was one of the first dudes bringing skateboards in, and he had this blank deck in there, and they were selling blanks at the time. And back then, you could barely get any pro boards in at the time. It was all like, even concave boards were like rare to come about, and it was all about those, this flat deck wooden boards that you got from the warehouse, and they were shit. But this dude was the first guy bringing in concave boards, urethane wheels, and he was the first dude we knew who brought Santa Cruz, Palparada, Alva, and all that stuff back then. And then he had, like, I couldn't afford any of that at the time, but he had a blank deck in there.
Yeah, they were expensive, right?
Yeah, boards back then. Well, when you're a kid, how are you going to afford $100?
Dude, they were more than I remember them being more than $100.
Yeah, $125, $150 for the deck. That's right. Yeah. Well, 120 was like the start, and then 135, 40 for like Santa Cruzes and
So-
that stuff. So yeah.
so
but I
it's-
got a flat. It was a blank, and that blank came from I had to paint it myself, and it was the shape of the Vision Psycho stick, and it said sidewalk surfing. It had a stick called sidewalk surfing, and
Me.
what my brother said, but it was actually from distributors in Tauranga at the time that were bringing shit in. But yeah,
Tauranga.
that started heaps, and
That led you to the mountains.
that led me to like loving rolling and the feeling of just being on a board and all that
Yeah.
stuff. So I was skating,
Standing
and then
sides.
around that time, surfing became the coolest thing. So I was just like, man, we're going to the beach. And going to the beach. I was like, man, I don't want to swim. I want to do that. So we went surfing, and then so I was skating and surfing at that time, and then in like the early 90s, 91, we first seen those videos of Craig Kelly and
Okay.
Lamar and that stuff. I was like, damn, we're going to connect these dots and get this Holy Trinity shit going.
So it's safe to say you were pretty obviously influenced by surfing and skateboarding. So
Massively.
these are already revealing things about your character. For me, snowboarding, I too, I wasn't surfing, but I was really into skating as a young fellow. We might come back to that.
Yeah, hard not
But,
to back in those days, eh?
Yeah, it was.
It
It
swept
was blowing
over,
up.
yeah, it took over our country like breakdancing did in the early 80s.
But I didn't know better. My thing is that then I was quite young, so I just didn't know better. It was just an awesome thing to do. Snowboarding came along as I was a 21-year-old,
Yeah.
a young man. You
Yeah.
sound like you're a few years younger, but for me, that was when I was starting to really identify myself. I was living on my own, you know, or renting and becoming my own man.
Yeah.
And then snowboarding's opened this whole massive door. So I guess that's where I'm kind of heading. And I want to ask you, like, obviously, skateboarding and surfing's already put you on this wicked path. But did snowboarding reveal more to you about yourself?
Reveal more. I was already down that path. It was just more of a connecting of like of dots, of making me realise that what I was doing at that time, which was basically following music and snowboarding and skating and surfing and having the connection of them all together, which made me which is it just made me kind of realise once I was doing snowboarding more that it was like literally just filling in the gaps, connecting the dots of, like I said before, a holy trinity. I was all about skating, snowboarding and surfing, having all three, and I just felt like it was very complete, and music was the soundtrack to that. So yeah,
So we can throw this away for a second, because how do you think snowboarding, skating, and surfing connects to your music? Because that's further down the list, but let's just go straight there.
Oh yeah, well, like everything for me, like, you know, music was first before them all.
Okay.
Really, like before all those stuff, I always loved music. Growing up in the Polynesian family, you know, I got there's nine of us brothers and sisters.
Ooh.
But growing up, I only knew 7 of them until I got halfway through my life and knew the others. But like I was always massively influenced on music that my brothers and sisters were playing and my parents listened to. And you know, it's what you normally do when you're the youngest. You kind of look up to your elders and go, man, I love that. And you know, they're massive inspiration on why I'm so passionate about music. But then you get into when you start, you know, finding what makes you tick as a kid, and then it was around 10, 11, I started really kind of like being more fascinated about music, about like, not just liking it, but like wondering what's making the noises and all that stuff. Was around that 10, 11. And then 12, 13.
So quite young. It's fair to
I
say
guess
quite
so,
young, bro.
yeah, I guess
You're
so.
a primary school kid at 10, 11, dude.
Yeah.
Other kids are going, I want the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtle dolls.
Yeah, well,
Kind
that's
of a big deal when you were 10.
well,
remember?
back in the day, things were pretty simple then, you know. You barely had, you're talking about only a certain couple of my friends had a Commodore 64 computer.
Yeah.
You had to still pay 20-cent coins to play Spaceys.
Yeah, mid-80s.
And then, yeah, in the mid-80s, and I couldn't afford to spend all my money at Wizards.
No.
So then, like, you know...
Wizards is the place where you play
The Spaceys arcade.
The arcade games. Okay.
Yeah, and it was around that time where, you know, like, it was BMXs, and like, back in the day, we didn't have
Well, your
arcade,
BMX
you know,
was huge.
that's right. And, you know, you like, when we got home, Kids these days get it so fucking easy. It's crazy. They get it so easy. They can do whatever they want.
Did you hear that? You get it easy. Polder said so.
Bullshit. You know, we got home and we weren't even allowed to watch TV. My parents were like, outside, make yourself, and we were like, but we're bored. She's like, no such thing, your children. Go make yourself, like, entertain yourselves.
My dad used to take the aerial out of the back of the TV and out of the wall.
Yeah.
So if we turned it on, he used to take it. So we'd turn the TV on and it would just be...
Yeah, no, our mum...
Go skateboarding, bro.
Absolutely, and that's where it all came from, all that stuff, you know, needing to do that stuff. And you know, around that time I was 12, 13. Just had other friends and we were kind of really into music. And you know, like at high school, you get other people going, like, this is the coolest music. And I had a good friend of mine, my friend Crete Harmy, him and I were just really big into anything that wasn't mainstream music. You know, we just like radio music.
So you weren't down for Bobby Brown?
We didn't want to hear. Oh no, I was down for Bob. Bobby was dope. Some of the, you know, my prerogative and that stuff. Yeah, all that early Bell Biv DeVoe was amazing.
Oh no, and
all around that whole era. That's
the Bell Biv.
That's just badass. All that shit. I was all about that. But the mainstream, I'm talking about, like, you know, what was played on the mainstream radio, and that was quite controversial.
Geez, it would have been mainstream.
Wasn't necessarily mainstream. But yeah, well,
Cyndi Lauper.
Anything that stuff, we just didn't want to have nothing of it. So we were all about, you know, Slayer, Anthrax, Public Enemy, Red Hot Chili Peppers, Fishbone, Fugazi, all stuff that was just like the stuff we wanted to hear, Metallica and all that stuff.
Wow.
So around that, like I was 12, 13, that's when we were already like, I like, you know, like going to parties and taking over at the parties of like.
So no White Snake.
Well, every now and then if it was in the right place, but we'd bring in our tapes, mainly all the new school shit.
I get it.
Playing all like, we'd take over the parties and, you know, and play all the music. So it was always really, really important. And around that time, skating was the coolest shit in the world.
Yep.
So we were skating, surfing.
Skating was everything.
Music, yeah, absolutely. And it was just music went hand in hand. And that's why it's always been with me, like, is like getting them all together. You know, working as a nice little ball of energy, supporting each other.
Me?
Yeah.
You couldn't. He really couldn't have answered that better, ladies and gentlemen. If I was ticking questions, I'd tick it right now. So, what? So I fell in love with snowboarding too, not long after you, and my first trip ever was to Queenstown.
Oh, right.
Which is where we met, and I just fell in love with snowboarding, and I had no idea that snowboarding was going to take me to a whole bunch of places. Right?
Oh, I know.
Because
some of the best things they do, you never know.
Yeah. So my next question that I like with short stories is, okay, we got snowboarding. Then we inadvertently become travellers. You know, you can never talk about it.
No, all good.
You sure? Okay, cool. So you can become snowboarding inadvertently makes you a traveller. Because if you, like, New Zealand's great and everything, but if you really want to go snowboarding, you need to travel. So my next question is, in your travels, where was the place that really exceeded your expectations?
Alright, so my travels didn't really happen until quite later on in my life, really, like not until my late 20s. So
was it snowboarding or music?
It was music.
It
so
was music.
When I first came down to Queenstown, I came down to Queenstown to get away from music because my band, Police Lucifer at the time, just split up. So I thought I'd do a mission. My friend Jacob Bradley was living down in Queenstown in 1999, and then I just thought, shit, I'm going to roll down, go hard, do some snowboarding and skating, and get my fix on, and forget about music for that time being, just because I was kind of scarred from the split up and the lack of commitment from members that for the reason why we ended up splitting at the time. I was just pissed, so like.
And you're still a young man. Let's be honest, you're still a young man too.
Up was 99, so I rolled down to like Queenstown to go snowboard and skate, and was emceeing roughly at a bunch of clubs and all that shit. So Yeah, when I first got down there, I started doing. Then I met up with Sunshine Sound System, downtown Brown. We started the Sunshine Sound System together. Started working hard from like 2000, 2001, to pretty much doing like Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday nights, and then Sundays in Queensland. When it was getting this real good little a vibe thing going. And while I was down there, it's like 99, 2000, 2001, 2, 3, 4. Cats were going back and forth. Heaps of, like, while I was down there, like, you know, I was 25 when I first went down there. Met so many people, lots of people younger than me, especially heaps of Kiwis and that were going back and forth to Canada and Europe doing for snowboarding, and I was just blown away because it was never really an option. I never
or a thought,
or even a reality.
I
never thought it was a reality just because that what these cats were doing.
Yeah.
So I was just like, shit, man. Like, for me, I just carried on doing music, and it was funny because we were going quite hard around there with Sunshine Sound System, and around that time we were kicking major ass, like just doing jamming all the time, getting really fucking good at freestyle and just rocking the party. Mm-hmm. So many cats would come in, promoters, and man, I want to get you guys to Europe. Like, yeah, I'll take you guys to the States. Like, yeah, okay, sweet. But nothing really eventuated until Jasper came down around like 2002 or 3 and was just blown away. He goes, yeah, I'm keen to get you guys to London if you can. We're like, yeah, sweet as, all good, make it happen. And then pretty much 2 months later, he calls us up and goes, okay, gigs are booked, this is where we're going. We're like, wow. So I never really travelled, I never got over to Europe, to the other side of the unit of the hemisphere, the other hemisphere, until I was 28. So I was already quite bitter about it. Just I kind of just accepted the fact that like I might probably not going to travel, so fuck it. I'll just go hard and like.
Little did you know.
It was, you know, that's it. I mean, like paths take shape, all sorts of stages in your life that you didn't know you'd have these connections and all that stuff. So yeah, I didn't really travel till 28. So it was funny, but then once it
and you went to London to play a gig.
Yeah.
So you didn't actually travel. You travelled the first time for music. You didn't travel the first time for snowboarding.
Snowboarding. I didn't travel for snowboarding for years. I did for snowboarding was to Queenstown.
Okay.
But yeah, it wasn't till like.
It counts though.
Yeah. Well, it wasn't really travelling. It was just going to the mountains.
Yeah.
And the deep south. So yeah, took ages, and then pretty much from then on it was music. From about 2002, 2003 to now, and travel every year now, pretty much. And yeah.
Now you travel for snowboarding because we go snowboarding in Japan.
Yeah, well, I just do snowboarding pretty much for pleasure. You know?
Yeah, it's your holiday. It's primo. It's primo.
And we've worked it out now that we go to Japan, do a couple of gigs there, pays for everything, get a holiday, don't have to have expenses, have a nice party, ride pal.
Me.
Pretty, yeah, it's crazy good nowadays.
Yeah, it's alright, eh? So, for me, when I started travelling, I mean, I guess if you're doing it with music and you're doing it with a group of people, it might be slightly different. I travelled on my own. So, travelling and just landing in France on my own was quite a learning curve. I'm sure even if you travelled with a band, there's still a lot of similarities. So what I really want to touch on is what did travelling reveal to you about yourself? Just finding yourself in a new environment, in a new place, were there things you discovered about yourself that you didn't discover in your day-to-day life in Aotearoa?
Yeah, I took too many clothes. I packed too much shit.
You hear that? Pack half the clothes you need, ladies and gentlemen.
Because you technically you don't really need all those clothes. So yeah, just learn how to pack less. That's kind of my only tip. Traveling, man, you don't have to pack so much. Pack less. Then less to worry about carrying all that stuff and be more. Not thrifty, but more like kind of break it right down. You don't need to actually take like 17 pairs of jeans and shit, all sorts of things. Like, first time over would take nearly everything, try to squeeze everything in and like barely.
You wanted to be prepared, bro.
Yeah, well then I realised, oh shucks, just overdoing it.
But it's I kind of guess I'm heading where you're thrown into this completely foreign environment. Pardon the pun. You're thrown into this foreign environment. Were there new parts of you that you discovered because all of a sudden you're in this different place? Maybe not London because they speak English, but I've been to London. It's still quite a different place.
Oh, I just realised after doing that I really enjoy travelling to different places. You know, foreign places, seeing foreign landscapes, and just being immersed in different histories, and just getting exposed to the world. Basically, I didn't realise how much it would really resonated with me. Well, I really enjoyed it. That's one of the greatest things about travelling. I recommend it to many more New Zealanders, and you know, hopefully open some minds, because we're not really. We can be like quite close-minded sometimes, New Zealanders, and I think like through travelling, it's actually opened me up to be a bit more, have just a bit more patience with people. Just a bit
more understanding.
Yeah,
and also open to new things.
Absolutely.
That's kind of where I was heading, bro.
That's one of the greatest things about travelling as well, was new foods, new, experiencing new cuisines and
new languages,
new customs,
new clothes,
that's the best thing.
New habits.
Oh, customs, and just checking out new cultures and that stuff. That's the greatest thing about travelling.
Okay, so now that, even though like when you went to London from music, and then now all of a sudden we both know you've travelled heaps. He's travelled heaps. So, just for fun, other than the pack less clothes that you need, what is your hot travel tips? Like just have you got? Let's just do. Can we do two more? Two more hot travel tips from PDigsss.
Oh, travel tips. I guess. Well, yeah, the main thing for me was just like, travel with less. Get a real good pair of noise cancellation headphones. For me, that's one of the greatest things.
It's a good tip.
Yeah, and cancellation, it's actually, you can just sit there and just smile and everything's all good, and that stuff. It helps it easier to sleep. And for travellers, some big lengthy travels, sleeping pills.
Really?
Yeah, that's what really works, especially if you have to go to Europe and you've had broken sleep for like 30 something hours, get there and you've got a day off, the night off, and then you've got to perform the next day. If you can't get your sleep patterns lengthy enough, because that's why I found out I get really bad jet lag if it's tons of broken sleep. So if I get like 3 hours, boom, then wake up 3 hours, then wake up for every like scattered breaks, I am a fucking noodle.
Yeah.
The next
Understandably.
day. And then when it's just out, it's just like all the pros, just have a sleeping pill, get that first big sleep, and then it's a bit of a different game. But yeah, it took a few travels to suss that one out, but then yeah, pretty much that's it. Fresh underwear, fresh socks, some nice cologne, making me feel great.
You cannot underestimate how good a fresh pair of socks is.
Fresh pair of socks and underwear. You can take on the world after that.
I've actually started shelling out the like $90 or $100 for because I don't travel enough to get lounge access. I don't know about you.
Yeah.
But now in this day and age, they actually have lounges you can pay for.
Yeah.
So they're exactly like the lounges that right. So and I dropped the $90 because I can have a shower. You cannot underestimate the power of a shower. In the middle of
traveling, that's right. Long haul can take it out of you, and that's one of the beautiful things about lounges, because you can have that landing, have a shower, then have a beer and all that stuff. And if you think about it, like $90 for your travels, if you add up all the time that you're spending in between flights and transit and all that stuff, you're eating shitty food, it adds up, like more they're $90
Exactly.
sometimes,
And
and you're tired, and you have nowhere to sit comfortably.
Yeah.
You have to always watch your gear.
Yeah.
In a lounge, you can just leave that shit and go for a shower and like.
Exactly, it's
have your
peaceful.
beer. Yeah, it's worth it.
It's peaceful. You can have a beer, a wine. I get a little cheese platter because, of course, they feed you on the planes. So I don't eat a bunch in these lounges. I get they have like a little cheese platter thing going with some smoked salmon, and there's a wine. You just pour a glass of wine, but it's quiet and it's peaceful. And yeah, you're not just walking around the terminal going, I don't need to buy that. I don't need to buy that. I don't need to buy that.
I just have to look after your stuff. It's nice.
Yeah.
And, so.
Yeah, so travel lounges, fresh socks and boxes are a hot tip. So so we talked about the past a little bit, well mostly, and so my next question to you, Polder, is what's moving forward? What's important to you now? Now let's jump right into the now.
Now it's still the same stuff. Music, just concentrating on making sure that my music is in the right place so that I can live off it, so that I can all the other things like skateboarding, snowboarding, surfing, downhill mountain biking is very important in my life at the moment now too. So just adding extra things in my life that just make me feel good, Got to realise, life is pretty. It can be short, or it can be the longest thing really. It can be quite fucking long if you make it. Pull it off quite well. Might as well load it full of things that you really love and what make your heart feel content. And that's the main thing. I like
So
no more should have, could have's. Just yays or nays. Just do it. That's pretty much all. That's what's important. It's really just not a hell of a lot. I'm just want to get better at making it flow better, so I can still keep doing what I'm doing: riding bikes, skating, snowboarding, surfing, making music, traveling. But just trying to get it better. I'm just trying to get it.
Get better at it.
Get better at it. Get lounges everywhere.
Hopefully not paying for
lounges, service everywhere. Boom.
Nice. So you recently went to Canada with mountain biking, and I saw that on the gram, and it was funny because it's right in the middle of ski season, and you made a joke like I'm in the airport with my bike and helmet, and everyone else has got their snow gear. Yeah. And I was like, you've changed, buddy.
Yeah, I know. Well, I know. Well, that's what I was saying before. That's one thing that's become really important in my life. But the reason why I ended up doing it is because the July prior to this season has been an interesting season, quite mellow for winter, and June was like, it came, and then there were sure signs it wasn't going to be coming for a while. And then July was dry as shit, no snow.
Yeah,
and
I've seen that here in Central Otago before.
And I'm normally like everyday July guy, everyday August, just because I live across the road from the mountain as well, so it's easy.
Just a little bit.
So it's nice and easy and that stuff, but just it didn't really happen. And I need endorphins, man. I need adrenaline. I need shit that makes me feel like I'm alive. Mm-hmm. And at the time, I didn't have enough of that, and it was like I had to stop skating vert for a while most of this year because I blew out my MCL, and it didn't actually like me going down on my knees. Or something weird was popping out, and when it popped out, it basically swelled up, and it meant like it had 2 days of like aches and limping. So it kind of stopped vert for a while, but I still needed intense fucking endorphin. I still needed a good rush. I still needed a shit to scare me. So down on mountain biking really perfectly fulfilled that, as well as giving me fitness and kind of like trying to get some exercise in. But I love the fact that I could get out in the trees, ride bikes and that stuff. And then it just so happened that I had a meeting with a friend, and he goes, "Oh yeah, man, I'd love to go to Crankworks." I was like, "Shit, where's Crankworks? Whistler Crankworks?" And I hadn't been to Whistler for 2 years. Last time I was at Whistler, I ended it on A-Line. It was a magical day, scary day, and I was shit at riding then. So this time around, I just thought, wonder how much it's going to be. So I looked at flights. They were quite cheap. Bought them straight away. Sorted out a gig over there, and just rode my ass off. And then Yeah, it was funny. It was one of those ones, no snow in July, getting right to the end, just about to go to my flight. The day I was flying, it starts dumping.
Of course it does.
Dumping in the Crown Range. Cadrona's dumps, and like I'm at the airport with my bike, helmet, getting ready to go, and there's these massive flakes falling down. I'm like, don't you dare stop my flight from getting my international flight in Auckland. So yeah, it was nerve-wracking, mate, and I was standing there with the bikie was looking at me, they're all coming in, I'm going the other way. But yeah, landed in Vancouver 13 hours later, 30 degrees, drove to Whistler, had a big fat Caesar with my friends, and then yeah, got a season pass, went biking, did like 11 days, and like there's a massive connection. Like I do all those things because they're all connected, like real similar endorphins, real similar one-on-one with you and your machine, or your board and your activity, and that one-on-oneness of like kind of like I grew up as a team sport dude, big family, always about big family and that stuff, and then when it got to the one-on-one things, they resonated, man, with me, and I was like, so I kind of like finding downhill mountain biking in this age of my life. It's not. I've got quite a few friends asking, is that the wisest thing to do? But at the same time, I don't really care. It just feels pretty good.
Your friends just care about you.
Yeah,
and
that's right.
And they're not wrong. I mean, you're hurtling down the side of a mountain on a pushy.
It is gnarly, and I think that's what's awesome. The connection with them all is they all have that intense one-on-oneness of just you and your element focusing, and I really love that intense focus, that intense, just like forgetting about all your peripherals, and it's all the same stuff, you know, like skating, snowboarding, surfing, downhill mountain biking, riding my super bike. When I'm doing that stuff, I'm not actually thinking about paying my bills, you know, I'm not actually thinking about
you're in the now.
Normal shit. Yeah, that's right.
That's what I loved about skateboarding, which led me to snowboarding.
Absolutely.
You when you're on a snowboard, you're instantly in the now.
Absolutely.
Whether you're actually trying to make sure the chairlift doesn't trip you up, or you don't fall off getting off it.
Yep, that's right.
Or whether you're just walking along a ridge, and you're walking along a ridge,
just
you don't want to slip.
Yeah,
you're in the now. You're in that very moment. Which is awesome.
Focus on what's at hand.
I get it. So, my next thing is we're going to go a little bit more. We're going to go a little bit deeper, and I want to know if you can tell me what the single best piece of advice you ever received from someone. Can you remember that time when someone went, "Hey, da-di-da-di-da," and you went, "Whoa"?
It's pretty much just been what my mother said it to me many times, and pretty much it's
mumsy.
Yeah, you know, just basic, just follow your heart with everything, you know. If your heart's in it, then you can't go wrong, you know. And that was I always remember that when I was young, about the difference, not necessarily the difference, but my mum was always supportive of whatever I did. If I was happy, my mum didn't care. She just was stoked that I was happy.
Because you're following your heart.
Absolutely, and that was what my mum was always called. I always I thank her for that. It made me realise, you know, so many times like, fuck, I'm sorry, Dad. I'm sorry, Pops. You know, but I'm gonna go snowboarding.
You're gonna follow my heart. Yeah.
So yeah, follow your heart, and you know, and believe in what you do, and that's pretty much. I don't really real advice. I use that all the time. You know, you know, am I following my heart? Is it really fulfilling my soul and my spirit and that stuff? And you know, and that kind of stuff.
Seems to be working out pretty good for you, Paul, so far.
Yeah, follow that stuff hard, and you know, it's like anything. You know, just do what you do. Just do it to the best of your ability, as well as you can, you know, like a Smith grind, man. Tweak that shit out.
Push that front foot into it. Add a little mustard.
Bring that shoulder in there.
Cool. So, just to try and add a little bit of because you know, with short stories, ladies and gentlemen, I do want to add this holistic thing that Paul has just ticked every single box of, but I do want to bring in this little thing with. What's the most random, epic thing that happened to you and how do you think that it occurred? And I mean like random. I mean like, not like we have our goal. We all have our goals and we have our plans that we're working towards. But every now and then, the universe seems to have this awesome way of going, "Hey, what about this?" Have you had one of those "what about this" moments that you can think of off the top of your head?
Yeah, well, travelling's been amazing. Travelling's given that to me many times, and just a couple of times of just like, and you know, we'll go back to snowboarding here. The last time I felt like, wow, we're doing something pretty bloody special, was in Japan with my good friend Sam, from my guitarist, from the band Sambora-san, and my bro Mark Tresto, our dingo living in Oz. We basically were just out back country. We were riding. We kind of just like, not really got lost, but we went this different route that we normally do, and we just had this. Oh, you know, it was just epic. It was about 60, 70 centimeters on top of 60, 70 centimeters the day before snow, and it was just, you know, like coming up on this lift and realizing we're the only three on this entire lift coming up, just looking over and like, did no one get the memo?
Right place, right time.
Did no one get the memo on power? What the fuck? We're like, shit. It was, you know, that was like February this year. And it was just a full
Honshu Des.
Awesome moment, yeah, Honshu Des hard, and it was one of those moments just there, and it was a blizzard. It was like -10, but the sun finally just shone out, and it was just a full like crystal cloud of power crystals just in our face as the sun came around, and we were coming up in this chairlift, and it was just us and the snowy trees, and we were just like, yeah, man, yeah, we were in the right place. The universe is guiding.
You've already planned this holiday in advance. You planned your crew, you planned the place, you planned the time, but it just so happened that when you were there, it was epic conditions and nobody around.
Yeah, it was one of the best trips, mate. It was best trips, powered every day.
Yeah.
It was like 14 days back to back to back to back to back. We normally have a day off for that stuff. Oh, we had a day off, but we usually have a day off because we're hungover. But what usually happens, and it happened again on cue, is you get hungover and it snows all day. And most of the mountain was closed. But what was awesome about Japan, it opened at night time. We got our, so we got had our
just when you were coming right.
Oh. Trevor Ponte knocks on the door. You guys ready to go? Lights ready. You're like, hold up, I'll just roll up. We'll be out in a tank. Boom.
That's me. So, that's some wicked insights, Boulder, and I thank you for sharing that. And there's, ladies and gentlemen, there's about 50 million more layers to this gentleman right here. But we're just getting started, and I hope to have Boulder back to talk to you and share
part
more.
Two.
Yeah, there could be part 2 to 50 if I get the time with him. But what would you guys talk? What's current with you? What's relevant right now? Is there anything you'd like to share with the interwebs?
Well, no, really. All I'm doing is just music. We're just going hard with the band. New album to come out end of this year for next year. So yeah, that's all we're doing. Just getting locked in with that, getting ready for touring. And other than that, just like getting ready for somebody to come around, ride some bikes and some mud.
You.
And yeah, skate a bit more.
There you go.
Lots more skating.
Wouldn't that be good? Full circle.
Yeah.
So what Paul's trying to say, ladies and gentlemen, is if you're on Spotify, you should check out Shapeshifter New Zealand. And if you're riding your mountain bike in Central Otago and you see this smiley face, don't be shy to say hello. Polder, I'm sure, would love to show you around.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thanks for your time, my bro.
Oh, good, my brother. Sweet ass.
Yeah, we've got to start somewhere.
Yeah,
and
absolute pleasure.
It's been my pleasure too. So stay tuned. There's going to be a lot more, and you can expect a lot more from this guy right here. He's just getting started. Peace.
So just begun. Yes. Good work.